finally been tagging me in some videos they want me to respond to. So shout out to y'all. If you see something on TikTok or Instagram, on TikTok, tag me in the comments. Instagram, you can DM it to me. My DMs are open. If you want me to respond to it, just make sure it's interesting. Whatever I'm about to say, keep in mind, I have no issue with any of the creators. I'm just responding to the argument. Never the person. It's never that deep unless I say so. This first one, though, I believe it's about yellow paint in games and why it exists. Here we go.
You what we called at Valve an outlying data point. This is an important concept if you do a lot of play testing.
I'm like 5 minutes in and this game makes no sense, bro. Okay, how bro.
Now, this person could be trolling, but I've seen this, right? And this is, you're doing play tests and you're watching and you're like, hey, what are we learning from here? Oh my God, the person's not understanding this concept. We've got to build in more for this. We've got to do this, right? And you kind of really like do a lot of soul searching during this. But every so often you get somebody like this.
I just keep going in circles. Wait, how come my portal's over? Wait,
I believe this is the opening level in Portal, by the way.
What?
And you're like, we can't fix that. And so you would thank them, send them on their way, and then go into the conference room and be like, that's an outlying data point. We're just going to ignore all of that. We're just going to throw everything out because there's nothing to be learned there. It's rare. It is super rare. But it happens. And I think maybe this person's trolling. I hope. I actually saw this, though, for real.
Isn't it sad? Like, I feel like I say the same thing on stream. It's to the point where, like, I can't tell when some people are trolling on the internet now because it's like, first of all, you niggas is not funny. Let's talk about that. Second, we know for a fact, because studies have revealed that this generation is the first generation that is stupider than the previous one and physically weaker. So it's hard to tell whether or not somebody's just joking and like fucking with you or they're legitimately fucking stupid. That's why sometimes I have to stop and ask, like, are you joking in the chat? Because like I can't tell sometimes. Because the joke don't hit.
Which makes me think maybe they're not. So here.
Wait, no, I'm an idiot. This is the same portal. Wait. Oh, I think I'm starting to understand how this game works. Wait, am I?
He said, wait, am I?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I might have just... Yeah, I'm 100% lost. Okay, can I stop going in circles, please?
Like, that seems like trolling, right? Except, we once had somebody who had just gotten hired at Valve. And this is when the Portal team was really...
Oh, so he's a dev on the game.
Just started. Maybe the 5th playtest. I sat through all those early playtests because it was a great learning experience of how to do playtests and learn from Robin. And we watched this new hire play. And they could not learn anything. There's nothing stuck in that brain. And it was with horror that I remember Robin just stopped it. There's the only time ever. Normally we don't say anything. We just sit there and it's sometimes painful. But this time he's just like, hey, thank you. Yeah, there's some bugs. We'll fix that. And then he went and got a senior developer to come in and play test so they could have a good experience showing that the stuff does work. And I'll tell you, Portal works. The testing in Portal works, which makes me think this is a troll. Except that time, a person didn't last long at Valve either. Like, clearly they just weren't a fit. I don't know how they got hired. But then they didn't get fired because of the playtest. I want to be really clear there. But man.
He said somebody at Valve got fired because they was so fucking stupid they couldn't complete the job. How the fuck did you get past the goddamn interview? I'm going to assume this was somebody in Q&A.
Like, it was crazy watching them because... And that's what this reminds me of. So it happens. So remember that. It's okay sometimes when you get a play test just to be like... Now, you don't get 3 outlying data points. An outlying data point is... Super...
You know the funny thing, too, is there's a game coming out soon. I'm not going to tell you what because I can't talk about it. But I feel like there's a game coming out. It's going to... Like, this type of shit, you're going to see a lot of it on people's streams.
Super rare. I think 1 on each project is kind of how we go. The guy for Left 4 Dead who, after the playtest, said... Okay, I understand these are zombies, but they're sick. What can I do to help them?
So long story short, the reason I wanted to show this video is this dude was struggling to get through the tutorial area And I think that video, because I don't think they were trolling. I think that video is a great representation of why it's hard to have a conversation about anything. Because the problem with debating people is it assumes that you're on the same playing field, right? So a lot, and that's just not the case, because a lot of times people are arguing from their emotions. That's why PS4 niggas get really mad when I talk about you need to stop begging for PS4 for ports, basically, on the PS4. They can't comprehend why that 15-year-old console is a problem in the space of technology. And this is why yellow paint in video games exists. It's become a joke recently, but this is why it exists in action adventure games where there's yellow paint on the wall and it tells you where you need to go. Because long gone are the days where people want to sit and critically think about what they need to do in the game. So instead, the game kind of has to tell you. Me personally, I hate when platformers have that yellow paint. I want to figure it out myself and use that's the fun of the fucking game. But we've reached a point where like critical thinking is not fun for a large portion of the population. And game developers have to think, well, what's more important, being right or just getting the sale for the game? Because they are, even though they're making art, they are in the business of making art, meaning they got to make their money back because these games are expensive to make. So sometimes developers feel like they have to, when they do these Q&A tests, they have to make sacrifices in terms of how they want to design their games, because they can't assume that you or I are the brightest bulb. And he's saying it. He remembers working on Portal and seeing this firsthand. He's like, that's why he's like, I think he's trolling. I'm not sure, but he's seen it firsthand. If they had to think it's considered a bad game design to him. I think a great example of that is actually Marathon. I don't know if y'all been paying attention to the conversation around Marathon, but in the last like 48 to 72 hours, like I've seen a lot of tweets of people saying, the more I play the game, the more I like it. And it's because the game has depth to it. Like it's somewhere between Escape from Tarkov and Arc Raiders. It's not a game that's designed to be picked up and just played. Like you have to sit down and learn it. And once you learn it, it becomes more fun. It's okay to have depth, bruh. It's okay. I wish more games would have a toggle option from the map quest icons to the yellow planes. There's something coming out that I think like if you don't like the yellow paint stuff, there's something coming out soon that I think is going to be hardcore that a lot of people are going to like. And I think a lot of people are going to dislike, but I don't want to get into it too much. I don't want to give too much away. But yeah, I just wanted to show an example. This is why yellow paint in video games exists. This is why it's hard for game developers to introduce new ideas, because a lot of folks is just not capable of absorbing new ideas, bruh. We need to learn the difference between difficulty and intuitiveness. Some things may not be instantly intuitive, but they're not hard and people refuse to think. Ding, 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 ding. Like I always say, like I hate when content creators will tweet out, man, hey guys, can you please go like my video? I spent 12 hours editing this video. And my question always is, did you spend, because I'll watch the video. I'm like, I don't see 12 hours worth of editing here. Did it take you 12 hours to edit this video because you fucking suck at editing and you don't know what you're doing, or because you were actually doing a bunch of cool tricks and animations and shit in it? And usually it's the first fucking answer, bro. You're like, nah, dog, this is some elementary shit. Anyways, hell, there's a button. You should press it. These treasure chests are red. That means there's a gun inside. That's why they do that shit. What else I got for ya? Oh, we got an update on Marvel Token. They are listening to the community. According to the official count, Token Fighters, our team continues to work on improving the gameplay experience thanks to your feedback. Here's a glimpse of all the changes that are already in place. While development is still underway, we have a list of currently implemented changes to share with you before Arc World Tour. Let's check out what changes they made from the alpha. They are trying to win your dollar. Assign dedicated buttons for tag and assist. That wasn't in the beta? Who played the beta? How the fuck did you tag people in if there wasn't a dedicated button?
Supporting.
So it's gonna be easier to do combos. Cancel attack to trigger non-rush assist. I don't know what the fuck that means because I didn't play it.
I'm on it.
Is this good? The people who played it, is this good?
I've got this.
Reduced assist, hit stop, and consecutive assists. Feints, they made it easier. It is good? Okay.
Got this. I'm on it. There.
You got it.
Aerial assist conditions change so that they make it easier or harder.
On it.
Receive my assistance.
Here I go.
Call ground assist while airborne. That's useful.
I'm here.
Unit failing.
Super skill no longer calls wall break. That's good. I would imagine that was fucking annoying if like every time you got hit with a super, they also get the bonus damage off the wall break.
Go, tornado. Now.
Full knockdown state post wall break. What does that mean? Full knockdown state. Does that mean like invincibility frames getting up? Link attacks no longer trigger on whiff. You get a better advantage. Got you. Link attacks no longer trigger on whiff. Wait. So there was an issue where if you whiffed an attack, it would trigger another attack? That sounds awful. I'm glad they fixed that.
Here I go.
Reduced aerial combo limit consumption so that you can do your little special moves a little bit more, I guess.
My wings ready.
This is why betas are important. That's why betas are important.
Good start. Let's keep this up.
Day one cop, day one cop.
Yes.
So there you have it. Those are some of the changes they made. And they also said they're looking to make more changes. They're continuing to hear the feedback. W devs. What else I got for you? Oh, speaking of superheroes, I saw this on the timeline. I had fun playing it. The frame rate was the problem sometimes, the latency and shit. Okay. Speaking of superheroes, some Nike Air Max Nightwings are coming out. You know, if anybody's into sneakers, you might want to, get the Nightwing joints. Nice. If you're interested, I'll drop the link right here. So I'll drop it if you want it. You're trying to cop those, get some nerd kicks, them joints cleaned. I'm not gonna lie, I'm tempted to get them myself. I think it said on the website they $88. I was like, I'm kind of tempted to get them myself. I'm not gonna lie. But I dropped the link in the chat if you want it. Other news, High Guard update. Ex-High Guard developer says that the shooter leaned too far into the competitive scene and that turned a lot of players off. I don't agree, but let's go ahead and finish this. Let's hear what he has to say. High Guard, the free-to-play, yeah, we know. According to a former Wildlight developer and level designer, Alex Grainer, who told Quad Damage Podcast that developers don't strive to create something that doesn't work out. Obviously, nobody wants to make bullshit throughout development. Wildlight really leaned into the competitive side of it, and that was always one of the biggest fears as a player. I can only speak to my side of it as a level designer, but when I joined Wildlight, it was trying to figure out this new ambitious game, and this team is always punishing the boundaries, Grainer said, as transcribed by Eurogamer. You don't strive to create something that doesn't work out, but it happens. Unfortunately, through development, we really leaned into the competitive side of it, and that was always one of the biggest fears as a player. I don't agree with that. I think one of the biggest issues it had off rip was the art design looked like a generic live service game. Even the UI. I remember when I previewed this game, I was like, the UI literally looks like Apex from like a distance. So off rip, a lot of people didn't like the art design. I just don't think a lot of people like the 3v3 format. They felt like the field was too big for how many people. I didn't 100% agree with that, but like, I think they should have launched with like 3v3, 4v4, 5v5, and they should have did a beta. It's funny, we just covered the Marvel Token beta and them making improvements. They should have did a beta where they tested a bunch of stuff out, got feedback, and then improved from there. I don't think the issue was the game was trying to be competitive, because when the game was fun, it was fun. It was just, they had a lot of ideas that they didn't execute on properly, and they should have gotten feedback before saying, this is what we are. Because a lot of people ended up liking that 5v5 mode. And I think if they would have launched with that and didn't have server issues day one, the game would have been received much better. I don't think High Guard would have ever been the next big live service game, but I think the best case scenario for High Guard, if they didn't stumble out the gate, is they would have averaged like 10 to like 50,000 players a night. Really probably like 10 to 30,000. That would have been a good space for them to be in, but I don't think it had anything to do with being competitive. They just poorly executed on the gameplay. It would have been better if they dropped the beta the night of the Game Awards. Ding, 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 ding. Did you ever pull the trigger on the Super Box? Nah, I didn't. Weren't these gaming companies looking at what's going on and being like, we shouldn't do that? Well, to be fair to the game devs, and this is the problem with live service games, when you're chasing these trends, like this game started development 2-3 years ago, so this might have been the trend 2-3 years ago, but by the time it comes out, it's no longer popular. Like I'm gonna tell you right now, there is some indie studio or some AAA studio making an extraction shooter right now. It's in pre-production. All they got is art and some general concepts and maybe like some names, and that shit will not come out for 2-3 years from now. And we might not, I'm gonna be honest, a lot of people already ain't interested in extraction shooters, but 2-3 years from now, they really might not be interested in it. The issue is development takes time and you might miss the window. And that's why it's important, I think, for game developers more than ever to just make whatever the fuck you want. Make something fun, make something cool, and advertise it correctly and the people will come. I think that besides the execution on certain things when it comes to the gameplay, I think what Wildlight is guilty of is chasing the trend of live service games. They should have made whatever the fuck they wanted to make, versus trying to, wiggle in and scoot in on this space because it's already crowded. When MOBAs were coming late to the game in like 2015, I was already tired. Yeah, there was a point where there was like a new MOBA coming out like every month, and you remember Strife? SRIFE? I was like, oh my God, the DC one? I was like, I can't play all these games, guys. What are we doing here? Traditionally in business, there's usually only space for like 2 to 3 main competitors. That's why you have Costco, Sam's Club. You got Walmart, Target. You got Best Buy, Micro Center. So like usually there's never more than like in gaming, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, and then Valve. That's kind of a more of an exception, like having 4, but there's usually 2 to 3 main players. It's usually not enough space. Big Kirkland. Micro Center's in another league. Facts. What up, Blizzy? And PC news, speaking of Micro Center, if you're interested in making a entry-level PC, got some bad news for you. The entry-level PC will disappear by 2028 due to ongoing RAM crisis, some firms predict. The continued concern over RAM availability and its impact on component prices has led one research firm to predict that the entry-level PC market will disappear in as little as 2 years. Gartner has suggested in its latest report that the ongoing RAM shortage due to AI data center demands is going to have a big impact on consumer electronics, with the firm predicting a 17% increase in PC prices and a 13% increase in smartphone prices compared to 2025. Given the low margins on many entry-level offerings, the firm predicts that by 2028, the sub $500 PC will no longer exist, which makes me wonder, will this also apply to consoles? The benefit of consoles is, you don't get all the extra bells and whistles of a traditional PC. Instead, it's just a PC specifically made for gaming, so they can cut corners in certain areas. But if you can't make an entry-level PC anymore, that means you might not be able to make an entry-level console, something like the Switch 2. And instead, we're probably going to have to start at whatever's the next PS5 Pro, the PS6 Pro type shit, bruh. The surge in RAM pricing is predicted to increase further, peaking at 130% by the end of 2026. This will ultimately lead consumers holding on to aging PCs for longer. What I say on the podcast, youtube.com/GI updates, new podcasts out. Take care of your electronics. Open them up and clean them at least once a month. Bare minimum, at least once every 3 months. This shit's about to get rough. If you got a PS5, lay it down. Stop. I know it looks cool, but it's gonna ooze and shit. Ivan Ooze, take care of your shit, bruh. I'm actually curious to how Apple will adapt to this. Nigga, you know how they gonna adapt to this. They're rumored their next iPhone is supposed to be that fold. That shit gonna be $2,000 off rip. Apple already mark up shit. You know how they gonna adapt. They'll be okay. and the drone's gonna be lining up. And you know the worst part, if you don't understand why, I don't think, did I bring it up? Let me see. Did I bring it up in the, there we go. I think I brought it up on the podcast, but in case you didn't see it, I don't think it's gonna get better anytime soon, this whole RAM shortage. NVIDIA reports a truly astonishing $193 billion in annual data revenue in its latest earnings call, up 75% year over year, while little old gaming brought in $16 billion. Now, logically speaking, if you are a business owner, which way are you going to go? Very rarely will you ever hear me say this on stream, but I hope that the experts are correct and this AI shit is a bubble that's about to burst. I'm wishing for their downfall. Because it's not like going from 16 to 18 billion, you know, like some slight growth shit. This is crazy growth. They're just printing money over there. So they're like, yeah, we finna eat up all the RAM. All just so somebody can generate a cat in a MAGA hat on fucking Facebook, man. Look at this. Isn't it so cool? No, it's not. No, it's fucking not, bro. You're ruining all of our lives. Pray AMD says the future of PC gaming. Somebody please take the hit type shit, bro. What else I got for ya? Oh, Pokemon Wind and Waves may have a totally new monster type, a leak says. We got some Pokemon news. The drones in Iran use a lot of RAM as well. Yeah, currently we are at war, an illegal war, and they need tech. So he's not wrong. Y'all president, not mine. With 18 main elemental types, there's no shortage of Pokemon affinity combinations. You might assume that over the course of 30 years, the monster collecting series has tried every possible combination of those types by now. I mean, that wasn't last true in the new Pokemon type back in 2013. Surely after so many installments and remakes of the mainline series, the Pokemon types have run dry. Surprise, it hasn't. There are actually 10 type combinations that were never seen in Pokemon games before. Some of the absences make sense. Combos like normal, ice, whatever, bro. What's the rumor, though? But there are 5 mashups that are reasonably up for grabs in Pokemon Winds and Waves. Ice and Poison, Ground Fairy, Bug Dragon, Rock Ghost, Fire and Fairy. I know some of these inclusions don't sound right. I could have sworn I've seen Rock and Ghost type before. That don't even sound right. What the fuck is a Rock Ghost, nigga? This is why I can't get into Pokemon no more. What the fuck is going on? Ooh, a Rock Ghost. There's a Haunted Flying Coffin, for crying out loud. So how likely is we'll see any of these new type of combinations? Starter-wise, we've got the Fiery Pombon as a potential candidate for the fabled Fire Fairy combo. Based wholly on the start of its evolutionary line, I'm skeptical that Pombon will eventually give us this rare monster type. Little about Palm Bombs, this is speculation. I thought this was fucking actual real room. This nigga's yapping, dude. This is irrelevant, bro. What a big bro. Big bro Kozo might be a yokai grass type. I can't get into it, man. They just coming up with bullshit, bro. Rent this dude. AI slop article. Yeah, we're out of there, bro. Marathon Server Slam weekend feedback recap. Let's see. Only a few hours left to try out the Marathon Server Slam goes. Yeah, we don't care. First off, we want to thank you. Yeah, your feedback. Secondly, regarding all we've noted, here are a few points we've been keeping close eye during our time. So here's the feedback they're taking into consideration. Additional queue options. Currently, you have the ability to run solo, or you can queue in with a duo or a full Trilo, but we have heard the feedback about duo dedicated lobbies. This has been logged and shared with the community. I have seen a lot of people say they want to have a duos mode. Are listening. Unbinding keys altogether. For players, especially on console, there's been a steady feedback stream about the desire not to just rebind a key, but to clear the key binding altogether. We've passed this along as well. Some quality of life changes. Items we're still tracking. PvP feedback. The TTK is a hot topic. Some of you want longer duels and more runner contact. Others are vibing with the current pace. We're reviewing runner density on non-beginner maps and keeping a close eye on perimeter and dire marsh feel and all in all. Med and ammo economy. We hear you that meds are soaking a lot of your early loadout budget, and the back-to-back fights can chew through your meds and ammo reserves pretty quickly. I felt like I was running out of ammo pretty quickly. We've seen some folks, because there's AI everywhere on the map, folks for and against the depleted items as well, along with how rewarding drop-offs of AI are. If you ran dry mid-fight or a critical spot in your run, tell us all about it. So they still don't know 100% with the loot drops. Yeah, you got to go in with ammo. But what happens when you broke, though? UI feedback, keep it coming. We do plan to continue iterating post-launch and want to make sure that you're able to easily navigate, read what's happening mid-fight, manage your equipment effectively, and see your pings without any noise around them. We've got a big thread out on the Marathon official Discord where you can drop your thoughts. Translation, they heard the feedback on the UI. Just don't tell them the shit is trash. Actually articulate what you don't like about the UI if you want to see some changes. Now, I haven't heard the new Baby Keem. I keep forgetting he dropped an album because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a Baby Keem fan. He's not on my playlist. PC performance, we're digging into reports of high CPU use, low GPU use, FPS ceilings in the 80 to 100 range. Oh no. And frame hitches when fights get sweaty. If you're seeing this in your CPU and GPU specs, I didn't have those issues, but you know, somebody did. Movement and heat generation. Lots of chatter around slide fill, momentum, and heat alike. The common asks are for smoother slide transitions, letting downhill speed carry, and lowering heat on core movement or for cleaner chases and disengages. I feel that. I feel like you had to manage your stamina a little bit too much. I feel that. They should up that. But his new album might be a classic. Is that true, chat? Is the new album a classic? Y'all niggas call everything a classic. When in reality, Gen Z, y'all don't, I'm gonna be honest, y'all really don't have them. Y'all swear the 2016 list was great. That album does not, that cover doesn't have a classic album on it. It's decent at best. I believe it's decent, but classic, I'm not gonna lie. If there's a generation notorious for throwing around the word classic, it is y'all. It's aight, but no. Hot garbage, unfortunately. It's a 6. Should at least check out the Ken. I'm not saying I won't listen to it. It's just, it's not a priority for me. I get around to it when I get around to it. Don't know about classic, but I like what I heard. Shout out to Crab with the sub. Yo, shout out to Griff with the super chat. He said, am I wrong for thinking ball and gun gamers are slow for buying a PS5 just to play 2K, GTA, and Call of Duty? I'm not gonna call them slow because I think that's a bit of a reach. If all they play is ball and gun games, that doesn't mean you're stupid. That's because intelligence is relevant to the conversation. It does mean you have a limited palate. It does feel like it's a waste of money, but I'm not gonna go as far as to say somebody's stupid. They might just really like Call of Duty and GTA. My issue with ball and gun gamers is them niggas love to talk about things that they're not qualified to talk about. That's the issue. Xbox on it was being the new PS4. What? Wait, what album? I don't know the name of that shit. What else we got? Fixes we've shipped. In-run voice chat bug fixed if you have issues with hearing other players. The lobby size, I saw that. I didn't get a chance to play with the update on the lobby size. Yo, shout out to Anthony with the sub. Does it feel better now there's more people on the map? Mouse input lagged. Names changing to redacted. What the hell? They got Epstein in this bitch, bro. That's good they listening. W devs, man. Updated lobby size still felt hollow. Did you ever get out of the beginner area? Because I learned the more you, and this is why people are saying the more they play, the more they'll like it. The first 2 areas are beginner areas to teach you how to play the game, so there's less people on the maps. But when you get to the 3rd map and you keep going, there's more teams on every map, so you'll fight a whole lot more. So I gotta ask, did you ever make it to the other maps? Do you think it's worth keeping my Xbox or making that switch to PlayStation? It depends on what you're into. If all you play is Call of Duty, 2K, GTA, no. But if you're interested in the PlayStation exclusives, then yeah. But did you enjoy it more than Arc Raiders? I can't say that. Let's see how I feel when the full game comes out. I didn't really like Arc Raiders like that either. I didn't hate it, but it was cool. Like, they're kind of the same to me. The problem is I'm not big into extraction shooters, but I did like the skill tree in this one. I thought that was interesting. Little story elements in it, and I like the shooting more in Marathon than I did in Arc Raiders. But I feel like I need more time on this game, though. I didn't get enough time on it. I did notice more people when I got out of Dire Marsh. See? And that's why you're seeing people's opinions change. And that's why when I saw more people saying their opinion is changing the more they play, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter say their opinion was like a 6 or a 7 when they first, and I wasn't trying to meme, I swear to God. They were saying like a 6 or a 7 when they first started playing it, but when they got to the later maps where there's more fights, it got bumped up to an 8, and I seen 9s as well. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna reserve judgment. I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna play some more, but I really do like the shooting in this game. It feels good even off the hip fire. What else I got for y'all? Oh, Bandai Namco Holdings are officially announced. They officially announced a thorough company restructuring, renaming departments, and enacting personnel changes. Nintendo will also acquire 80% of Bandai Namco Studios Singapore on April 1st, the other 20% later, and become Nintendo Studios Singapore. Ladies and gentlemen, Bandai Namco no longer exists, and depending on how you feel, it could be, or it could be. That's right, it's gone. Bandai Namco by 2027 will be a Nintendo studio. Tekken Mario? Maybe. I doubt it. My gut tells me if you like a 3D arena brawlers, you're about to get a whole lot on the Switch too. And for me, that's a... But I'm gonna be positive. I'm going to hope with Nintendo absorbing Bandai Namco, this means Nintendo's creative minds are going to be put on these projects. I hope Nintendo brings in talent to Bandai Namco and says, hey, guys, you know, we don't have to turn everything into a generic 3D arena brawler. We can do something else. I'm not going to lie, every 3D arena fighter is a Switch game. That's Singapore, though. Acquire 80% of Bandai Namco Studios Singapore on it. Oh, it's my bad. Okay. Am I reading this incorrectly? It's only the Singapore studio. I'm bugging. It's not it's not the full thing. I read that incorrectly. My fault. I'll take that L. It was worded kind of weirdly. It's not that big. I don't know, man. I'm gonna be honest, chat. I don't care. I don't care about Bandai Namco. I don't know what this means. Until I see them make something else, I don't know, man. Like